And now it's time for our invocation. Everybody just gently let your eyes close right where you are this morning. Inviting yourselves into a place of gentle awareness of this service as it begins to unfold this morning, with all the vagaries and varieties of all who are here, all the impermanence and the moving parts, all of the blessings of the hearts and minds that are coming together this morning. Here in this space, each of you, this gift that is being given onto this planet, into this community, the blessing of who you are. As we raise up what we are here for today is to celebrate this inner life, the holiness, the one life, the life we call God, infinite intelligence, infinite creativity, infinite love, infinite power, the one field we all know that is source, that is home, that is the place that draws from us and through us and as us our highest beingness, directing all our efforts, directing all of this service today, directing all of the words, the songs, the music, and every single part of this service that happens today for our highest good. Knowing that each and every one of us is blessed as an individual point of light, and also knowing that beyond this individuality is this group wholeness, this unity, this oneness. And in this oneness we rest as we know we have all the strength of all the strength of the universe, all the strength of the power and the love of all that exists within us, around us, surrounding us in this field that is ever expanding in love, always, always able to hold anything. This morning we are holding this service in this loving space, knowing that any worries or doubts or anything that came in can simply be released at this point, at this moment, and given up into the light. We allow ourselves to be in this service today in complete freedom, spaciousness, openness, blessing. If there's anything that is keeping us from feeling that divine expansion of experience and of expression, let me just leave it at the door and walk through the door of consciousness that is the holy love that you are. Breathing into that space, allow the expansion of who you are as you extend yourself as love into this room, into this space, knowing that it permeates these walls and touches the whole world. We allow this service today unfold in its infinite perfection as the specific experience that we share together. Blessing all who are in service today, blessing all who are here in their loving, blessing all great kindness, great love, and great generosity that is already with us, as us, in us, and who we are in the blessing of this day. And so it is.
Knowing that we are all blessed and listening to that call to be who we are, to listen to the transitions that happen in life, and to reaffirm our connection with nature. My days in the hills have come to an end. I know a star has come out to tell me it's time to go. But deep in the dark green shadows are voices that urge me to stay. So I pause and I wait and I listen for one more sound, for one more lovely thing that the hills might say. The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like the chime that flies from a church on a breeze, to laugh like a brook while it trips and falls over stones on its way, to sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more.
Beautiful, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. And Marlene, I think you have a reading for us this morning.
I do.
Thank you.
So this morning I am reading from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, page 411. The Principle of Divine Guidance. Nothing is more important than the realization that since we are surrounded by infinite intelligence, we are immersed in limitless wisdom. Emerson tells us that human history is the working of the infinite mind on this planet. We are, of necessity, inlets to the divine mind. But since we are individuals, we become outlets to the degree that we permit ourselves to become. We are surrounded by divine wisdom, love, and intelligence, and still lack divine guidance. Not that we lack the principle of divine guidance, for that is the gift of God forever made and forever delivered, but that we lack the perception of this guidance and its operation through us. Principles of themselves do nothing in particular for the individual until they are specialized or used. The desert is made to blossom as the rose when man cooperates with the principle of productivity latent in the desert. Experience has taught us that this cooperation must be conscious and definite. Moreover, it has taught us that we must understand the law with which we are going to cooperate before we can draw upon its special results. We are surrounded by a principle of mind and intelligence, which will become divine guidance to us provided we permit it to do so. Our part is to realize that divine guidance is a principle and to accept this principle as operating in our everyday life. The answer to every problem is the problem itself. It is usually so self-evident that its very obviousness conceals it. So divine guidance is ours for the asking, and no matter how crude that asking may be or may have been in the history of religious evolution, there has always been an answer. God has answered every request at the level of the mentality from which the request was made. When the scientist listens, the artist imagines, the mathematician calculates, or the poet waits for the muse to guide his fancy into word pictures, all are praying for divine guidance. Each in his own sphere of action receives as much guidance as he is capable of perceiving. And if you will all say the affirmation with me. I am loved and loved in the holiness of spirit.
I am loved and loved in the holiness of spirit.
I am present and held in the beauty of this moment.
You all can unmute if you want. I am present and held in the beauty of this moment.
I am blessed and gifted with the guidance on my path.
I am blessed and gifted with the guidance on my path.
I am whole and at ease in the grace of my knowing.
I am whole,
and at ease
in the grace of my knowing.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So let's sing together. What the world is now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is. Incredible. What the world is now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is. Incredible. What the world is now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is. Lord, we love all of our mountains. There are mountains and hillsides we love to climb. There are oceans and rivers we love to swim. We love to love till the end of time. What the world is now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is. Incredible. What the world is now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we love all of our meadows. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world is now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there is. Incredible. What the world is now What the world is now is love, sweet love. What the world is now is love, sweet love. What the world is now is love, sweet love.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Everybody just let's wiggle our fingers and just send her some shimmery, delicious light. Even if you're not on screen, let's send that beautiful light. What the world is now is love, sweet love. That's just fantastic. Yeah, so what kind of love? What are we going to talk about love today? Well, one of the things that is happening, of course, this weekend is Labor Day, so happy Labor Day for whatever that means. Be happy in your labor. Be happy you get it one day off a year to celebrate your labor. And just wanted to reflect with you all this morning, first of all, starting with an opportunity for each of us to have an individual experience of that, probably what may have happened during that last song that Elizabeth sang for us so beautifully, is that essence experience of what it's like to feel love into your body. So just everyone, I want to start this morning by us participating together in this experience of feeling the experience of loving. And for all of those of you whose minds are wondering where we're going, I'll ask you to trust me for just a couple moments while we do this. So I want to invite you all to think of something that you love. Unequivocally, it's a thing, an animal, a being, a blade of grass, a moment in time. Something that touched you so deeply that you knew that you were beyond time and space. It could be a moment of romantic love or the first time with your child, an animal, a moment in nature, a gaze, a conversation. So I invite this inner look, this love is who we are. As we breathe into it, we recognize the characteristics of this love by recognizing that we all speak about it with the same words. We use things like open, soft, passionate, alive, blessing, gratitude. And then we often have no words. And we breathe into a space as it grows in its expansion within us. We grow into this space of allowing the feeling of loving to permeate who we are. And sometimes we think it's the other, whatever that thing is, whoever that being is, whatever that moment was. We think, oh, I have to go be with that for love to be with me. Sometimes we forget that this is the source of life speaking through us as the wholeness that we already are within us. So, can you feel it? Will you allow yourself? And now breathe in again. And on top of this beautiful experience of loving something, just whatever it is, allow yourself to think of one thing that stops you from this loving. One thing that you judge. Let yourself think about that for a moment and feel the difference. This isn't right. This shouldn't be happening. This should be different. I don't like this. They're not doing it right or being right. I'm not doing it right or being right. Grasp that moment and feel the difference that comes with the constriction and restriction versus the flow and the energy and the openness that comes with this loving. Feel yourself in the interplay of constricting and expanding. We all do this thousands of times a day, constricting and expanding. And allow yourself now to go back to that full experience of loving, that full joyful space of loving. The full ever-expanding universe. This is the first step of our prayer process. Remember, there is love everywhere. We call it all sorts of names, right? God, infinite intelligence, infinite creativity, possibility, blessings, ultimate compassion, ever-expanding blessings. But whatever we call it, it's the source of you. It's the source of your life. It is the essence of the expression of you. And on top of that, we have the beauty of each and every one of us having uniqueness that makes this life delicious and interesting and fun and playful and curious, full of wonderment. And yet, at the core, at the center, is this ever, always expanding love. So as we ground that into our experience this morning, as we allow ourselves to really hold that, we're going to think about something together and see how it all flows from this place. So one of the questions that I get very frequently as I am interacting, praying, and sharing with all of you is a question about guidance, about how do I know? So we're talking about Labor Day, right? We're talking about labor. And people often, many of us often work so hard and we press so hard and we want to know the right thing to do and we stress ourselves into these conversations and we're deeply, deeply concerned with what is the right next step, and we spend days and days worrying and wondering and talking and out louding and investing and interpreting, and we just allow ourselves to ingest this sort of conversation of life that's what is next, what is for me, what should I be doing? The conversation that has been the consternation of much of this generation is, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? And if we go back to the simplicity of listening, if we go back to the simplicity of the joyousness of listening, we hear so many voices, but how do we choose? Which voice do we choose when we're listening to all these voices, when all these voices are the cacophony of the inner advice that we give ourselves, and then we add to that the outer advice, and then we read a book and we get even more information, and then we go to a meeting and we get even more information, and then we get an inspiration from something we've seen, and we have absolutely no idea how to sort this out. How do we sort And then it becomes laborious, right? Let's think about that word, laborious. Every time I looked up the word labor this week, it was all about effort and forcing and pushing and effort. And, Labor Day is a way to say thank you for all the hard pushing you've done. But like, what if we don't ever have to do labor like that? What if the way we do Labor Day is the way we should do labor? What if the way we do Labor Day is the weekend where we celebrate and we play and we enjoy and we have laughter and we see our families and we love each other and we eat too much and we play too much and we're exhausted? What if that's the best way to live our lives? Because truly, truly, in the invocation of the wholeness of loving, there is no labor necessary. We make this process a challenge by adding to it our expectations and our demands. And I'm saying are because I'm right there with you. And in this process now of joining you in this congregation, this was a fascinating opportunity to not labor with this question. Is this right? Should I be doing this? What direction? Who am I meeting? What does it mean? What are they saying? I didn't need to do that. I was able to go moment to moment. And what do we call that? We call that your calling. If you meet life as a calling, as you meet life with your heart, as you wonder, what is Spirit saying to me about this? There's no labor. It's a letting go. It's an opening. It's a relaxing. It's a loving into. And so how do we know which voice to listen to? How do we know? I guess a lot of the labor comes from wondering which voice, which sound, which basic, we talked about the cacophony last week, which piece of this is for me to follow? The one to follow is the one that aligns in the most glorious, loving place in your heart. We all think we have something big we have to do. We think we have something magnificent and momentous to do. We think we have something that has to change the world to do, and we think it has to be so big. But as Mother Teresa said, one of the most resonant voices on this planet to many, many people, do small things with great love. Take your next step with great love. Step aside from hurting someone with great love. Be unconcerned with your purpose and be the love. Help the world see that the labor of working and stressing and forcing and demanding and pushing is a fictitious entity that is unnecessary. When the world is love, when we are this incredible love, when we choose from love, the voice we hear is not pushing and demanding and forcing within us. The resonant voice that we hear that says, let us build our house on the rock solid ground of the eternal source of love and not the shifting sands of circumstance. Let us say our prayer into the field of strength and power and beauty that the oneness of all of the beingness of life gives you. You are a multitudinous point of light. It is not you alone making any decisions. It is not you alone that has come to this place. It has never been you alone. So why do we struggle with these questions as if it is us alone struggling? Because when we are alone, we are in the struggle. And so today, as we lift ourselves in the joy of Labor Day, let us play with the idea that labor is joy. It is the unfolding of the truth that we don't need to effort and push, and we can open to the joy that is available in every moment and ask the question, what is the guidance here for me? How can I release the stress of this question of what should I do? How should I do it? When should I do it? Where should I do it? All the questions that we sometimes live with when we're trying to give something into the world. There are so many people who want to make an impact, who want to share their love, but on their way to church, cut someone off in traffic, or on their way to their meditation, yell at the person across the room, or sometimes when things aren't going right, like start pulling their hair out, right? How many times have we all done this? I know for myself, and I'm sure I will include some of you. Maybe there are some of you who don't do this. But when we think that it's up to us to effort and push the thing into happening, then we lose our way. Then we lose our love. When I was asking you to hold the space of the loving inside you, that moment, that deliciousness that you have, that sweet essence that you have that you know is love, what are you willing to give that up for? Have you ever wondered, what if I wasn't willing to give this up? Who would I be if I always requested loving presence to be who I am with me? What if love is the power and the strength and the glory and the essence of the wholeness of what life should feel like in every moment? The reason we call it love is because it's the closest word we have to this infinite, expanding expression of an ineffable, an unwordable, an unspeakable, joyful, harmonious holiness. What if everything we did was that? We refuse to give that up for any reason. A late schedule, a traffic jam, a rainy day when we wanted sun, a sunny day when we wanted rain, a bad hair day, a sick friend, a dying loved one. What if we know that there is nothing for us ever to do but love more deeply, more fully, more strongly? What if we let our labor be our commitment to our expanding love? What if we take this Labor Day weekend and anything we're going to do on this Labor Day weekend, what if we take it and we squeeze the juice of love from it, committing that every moment of our labor is a labor to birth the love from within us? Now, that might take some work in some moments, because I think I know that many of us have moments where we have things that challenge us. Someone said the sweetest thing to me this week, really touched me because I could feel it inside myself. If I could just be alone, everything would be okay. I could be loving all the time if I was alone. And yet, when I get around all these people that I care so much about, all I feel is stress and frustration. And I'm exaggerating a little, maybe shouldn't say it quite that way. But how many times have we had that feeling where someone who's not in our presence, distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? Someone who's not with us is so exalted and loved, and we can't wait to see them again. And then they get in our presence and we're a little like, oh, they're doing that thing that just... Can we love that thing? Can we love that thing that looks like when we have something we know will help someone and they won't listen? Can we release our demand that they listen, and can we just be love to them? Can we just wrap our arms around them and say, I mean that figuratively, they might not appreciate it in the moment, but wrap our arms around them and say, I love you so much that I am going to stop having an opinion about you, and I'm going to let you be you, And I'm just going to sit here knowing who you are. I'm going to hold a vision of you beyond the circumstance that's happening now. When kids are throwing temper tantrums, the best thing we can do for them is say, wow, you're really mad. I love you. We don't abandon. We don't stick them. We used to think sticking kids in corners was a good idea. Sometimes we need to keep them safe. But if we put them somewhere safe, we need to go with them. Because we teach them that love comes with you. It doesn't leave you when you're bad or sad or mad or glad or whatever it is you are. If someone really loves you, they stay with you in those hard moments. When someone really loves, they stay with love in those hard moments. When someone chooses love, they breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe until they remember the holiness of whatever is coming to them. And so when we are looking for what is ours to do, we look with love within us. Our brains will give us millions of tactical guidance for what would be the right thing to do. And people will tell us so many things of what to do. But I have learned in some ways the hardest way, and many people learn it this way, on someone's deathbed, that your advice is useless. That on someone's health journey, your care is what heals. Your love is what heals. Your kindness is what heals. It reminds them who they are. And that is what heals. The healer is simply the one who reminds us who we are, so that we remember our divine wholeness and live back into the perfection. Our guidance is always love first. So if whatever you're doing does not feel like love first, it is not guidance. When we look for guidance, so many people have ideas about what guidance is. And so many times we struggle with what is the true answer. And the true answer is often a deep listening of what is the most loving act. Is it more loving to give my advice or to give my love? Now, if something wells up that feels soft and kind and asked and respectfully honored with a request, and you raise to that moment and you share with love, that is different. But insisting and demanding and imploring and pushing, I guarantee you they're all going on within you, within me, if we're doing them in the outside world. So let us take this opportunity. Let's take this opportunity of Labor Day and turn it into Guidance Day. Flow, open, easeful. Let our labor be love. Let our guidance be love. Let us not take action until it is a unified labor of love. Let us not waste time, money, resources. Let us gather them and let us press them into love. Love is a simplification. It is the only word we have that is big enough to encompass what it is we're talking about. But let us take this moment to remember that as you feel love in you, you experience, you express, extend, and heal all others. You remind them the love that they are and that they need not labor either. Without words, without insistence, without demand, we simply hold that space open that welcomes everyone to walk through the door of their own remembering. And what are you both remembering at the same time? We all are remembering that in our oneness we are whole. We are abundant. We are loving. We are kind. We are compassionate. We are healed. We are whole. We are blessed. We are beautiful. When you feel that, that is your signal that you are on track, on time, on track, and beloved. Your knowing flows from this space, and there is no question. Yes, I am on track. I am giving, and I am the love. And so we close our eyes in prayer, and we say within this prayer we are already in. We hold the love, knowing that each and every being is the opening to Source, and the Source pours through each and every one of us in its wholeness. We are not part, we are it. And in being it, we are all it. And as we see each other as the grand and glorious beingness, we become one, and we are all strengthened. As the Course in Miracles says, if even only one of us is left out, we are not whole. And so in our vision, we include the whole. In our labor, we include the whole. In our loving, we rest in the whole. And we are one. Beyond judgment, there is no other. And in this place, we hold all prayers in this congregation for love, for abundance, for peace, for wholeness, for health, for compassion, for kindness, for grace, for truth, for knowing, for whatever is on the hearts and minds. We lift every prayer up, and we allow it to be touched by the light and return to us as the shimmering power and strength and glory that we are and that all other beings are. In the deepest understanding of our humanity, we let go of our judgments. We let go of everything, and we let the petals on the lotus of the heart be free to open, expressing themselves in the full fragrance of beauty, love, kindness, and compassion that you are. You are guided beyond a doubt. You bring this same love to you, through you, as you, from you, extending as one. And in this prayer, we speak these words of gratitude, knowing that we are so very grateful. We are so grateful to know that we have an inner guidance system that says yes, 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 and no. Yes, and no. With great peace, with great love, with great joy, with great health, great strength and abundance. There is nothing missing from the vessel you are. There is nothing missing from your life. Nothing is wrong, nothing ever has been, and nothing ever will be. You are blessed beyond measure, and this word is spoken and released right here and now, knowing that as we speak these words, they are delivered, and all comes into form. We bring our hands together and we bow to each other in the devotion and blessing that we know that each of us are the Holy Spirit, the holy love, and the holy life as one. And we say together, and so it is.